We're live, I guess. Hey, good evening. We actually have a large crowd today. Let's go around the clock. We have Lefty. Say hi, Lefty. Hi,
Hello,
Lefty. Lefty
hello.
is actually based out of Penang. He's actually an illustrator, comic book artist. He's been in the industry for many years. I lost count. He's actually quite very
Yes.
seasoned and has been living in Malaysia, Singapore, even Shanghai for a while. And yeah, and now on the lower left, the guy that is actually in the dark and we don't see him much. That's CT. CT is actually from
Hello.
Singapore. He's actually
Hi.
joining us as part of the
Hi,
interview
CT.
and
Yeah,
co-hosting
yeah.
it. He's actually a surprise guest. He wanted to actually talk to Lefty and Faezal. So yeah.
Show it, please.
Yeah. Crash landing from Singapore.
In trouble.
And then moving forwards to Tom Chu. Tom Chu is actually currently based out of Hong Kong, but he's also Malaysian and he's joining fun and want to actually just talk something about comics. And lastly, the one that without a face right now, and we are seeing his hand, that's Faezal. Faezal will be actually do, yes, we are looking at his hand right now. So Faezal has joined us using his draw cam, and yeah, we can actually start taking some questions. So maybe just a very quick introduction, how you guys are actually doing, have you had your dinner, and yeah.
I mean, that's the most important question, right?
Yeah, sek pao meh. It's actually the typical Malaysian way of us greeting each other. Sudah makan?
Ah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
great.
had my and it's a very new thing to us, and
Yes.
StreamYard is also a very new platform. So we're like trying to figure it out just now.
Yeah, being stay at home is also a new experience as well. So I guess that we are learning everything new during this 2020. Welcome to the future. So
oh my God, I still have a very long to go though.
Yes, someone was saying yes.
I still have a long way to go in doing this, but it's been a very good learning curve for me.
Yeah. We have another 57 more minutes to actually learn this. So let's see. It wouldn't be too hard. The harder part is when Tom Chu starting to actually ask you questions about your comics books.
Yeah, that's
everything else is
really
actually
hard.
But Faezal, you've been doing this for quite long, right?
Well, for myself,
Yeah, we met, I think, at CAF KL in 17. I bought your evening Rumours as well as this book, Wires. I think.
yes.
Yeah. So this one was done in 08. You went to Kyoto, right? The Asia
Yes.
Europe Foundation.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for quite a while already.
Yeah, he's been
I am
drawing for quite a while.
yeah.
I guess that drawing live using a broadcast platform, that's his challenge, I guess.
Okay.
And so how shall we actually start? What you guys are actually doing right now? Let me just pull some closer seeing. I see an upside down page. What are we doing right now?
I'm actually, after I discussed with Faezal, because his book is called Evening Rumours, and it is like a tabloid newspaper in the olden days of Tanah Melayu. So I was saying to him, what if we do up a mock-up page of the newspaper, and then I would have the front page with a headline, like crazy headline, so that we'll sort of like draw the photo of because there isn't any photo in the like 17 something or 18 something the 19th century, right? So
yeah, it'll be like a drawing.
So we are drawing it.
Right. So this is this evening's edition, right? Hot off the press.
Edition. So I would have like the monster lizard versus major zombie over a girl, something like that. and have a small headline saying, those banana tree girls ate the monkey that ate her banana, something silly lah.
So you're actually playing with words. So sounds good. And how about Faezal? What will you be doing? Wow.
Okay, I'm basically going to draw the same based on the headline, but it will be my interpretation.
Right.
So Lefty will be drawing a different threat towards the girl. It's probably a creature, and mine is probably going to be something else.
Yeah. So sounds interesting. So yeah, and while we are actually waiting for you guys to actually draw, maybe we can actually take some questions from the floor. I think there's already some question coming in. Lim Hing just logged on and actually says that first question: do you both still taking commission after the Smurf event?
Yes, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Well, we would always have commission. We will always welcome commission whenever we could lah.
Yeah, and yeah, he quickly apologized and said, "Oh, that's not very Malaysian of me. Sudah makan." And
Sudah makan.
so I guess that Lim Hing is actually interested to actually commission both of you. I sort of actually got an idea what he intends to do. It sounds interesting, so let's let him contact you later after the show, I guess.
Sure.
And,
For me as well, I'm still open for commission.
Yep. Okay, that's good.
Perfect.
So Lim Hing, I guess that actually answer your question. So whenever you're ready, just commission something awesome and just share it with the communities when you're done.
Just reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be ready for you.
Yeah.
So maybe I just check in like how's things over there for you guys. I mean in Penang. Lefty, since you came back from Shanghai last year, set up the studio.
Yeah. Penang is really I think the people are too relaxed and I don't think they see the danger in this COVID-19 situation. I mean, since the government has been more relaxed on the rules and regulations, it's like going back to normal. So that is kind of not so good. I mean, we need to be more careful, I guess.
Yeah.
So are things tighter in KL or not? I mean, comparatively.
I'm not. How about Inka, what do you think about the situation?
You're asking someone that's actually staying quite far from civilization, but I'll say that there are still people are actually still observing people are still actually observing the new norm. So there's not a lot of people coming up to actually dine in. A lot of queue. People. Some of them will actually follow the standard operating procedure, but I do notice some lagging behind. But I think overall, everyone is actually just trying to actually live within a new world right now. They are wearing masks when they actually go out. They don't do shake hand that much. They do the fist bump or just just a touch to your chest. So it sounds like people are actually adapting better from where I am. I haven't been to KL yet, so I have no idea how it is. But from what I've actually heard, it seems like people are getting back into the norm. The old norm, not the new norm, which is actually quite worrying. But let's see.
Yeah, exactly. That's my concern.
So the studio not open yet, right? It's still closed for the time being. Or are you working from home, is it?
Actually, officially, the government has allowed us to open, but we decided to delay it for another 2 weeks, and only we will do partial return, which means certain department will come in first, because during the the stay-at-home period, many of the staff brought back hardware and stuff and things home to work. So some of them will bring the things back, set up the place, and we will, of course, we will spread out the people.
Yeah. Because actually, for the studio, I suppose for the artists, for animators, it is possible to work from home, lah. Right?
Yeah, it is very possible.
Because earlier on, some of my friends in Singapore, they work in newspapers, the art department. They also brought the all the screen and all that back home also, all getting ready.
So people are actually getting ready to actually stay longer at home.
Yeah, do you think this is going to change the way people work after the virus is in a better state? Do you think people are just going to continue working from home afterwards?
I think.
I mean, why not, right? If things are actually operating just fine and people are actually adopting to the new way of actually doing business, they actually save company plenty of money actually renting offices and getting people in office. I mean, we are living in the future right now, so it only gets normal that we are actually in this way, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that is fine. Yeah, that is fine, provided that the employers do not take advantage. Like say, okay, instead of giving you the full benefits since you work from home, I take away certain benefits. That shouldn't be the case,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
Both ways, and also people who could take advantage of or work at home and then it's like, so yeah, it all works both ways, lah.
I mean, if it actually flags, that actually means that well, the performance actually shows, right? So yeah. You're actually getting quite a number of messages that's coming in, Lefty. When you actually says that Lefty is the man, how are you, sir? I hope that you do more Jimi, Germ, or Malaysia-based characters.
More Major Zombie, maybe?
Yeah, maybe just zombie as well. But on that particular topic, right, maybe we can actually move on to some of your creation, Lefty. One of it will be Jimi Germ. I think Jimi Germ is something that is actually, we actually have a private conversation. You mentioned that some of your friends actually pointed out that what you actually did in Jimi Germ is actually quite relevant right now in what we are actually to a certain extent. So adding a screen and I'll be sharing some stuff. Casey? Yeah, okay, good. So let me just pull out some of the Jimi Germ.
That's Major Zombie, yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Jimi Germ is it was done in 2012, and during that time there's already SARS, H1N1,
I guess.
Zika virus, all these things has already started to come up. So that's how I was inspired to do something germs related, like this guy who can communicate or negotiate with the germs, not virus, because there's a little science facts in it, because germs a life form is cell, but a virus is not. So you can communicate with germs, and sometimes germs carry virus. So it could be an educational topic too. But I wanted to make it more interesting and relevant at the time.
I think this was supported by MDEC, right? And was brought to San Diego, if you remember.
Me and Ying Huat was in San Diego during that time. So it was a fun project. But again, the thing about us indie creator is, after we have a fun or something like this to work out a project, and then after that, how do we springboard to the next level? Quite a challenge. So
yeah, that's true. I agree.
And then we have to sometimes. So I always fall back to working in a company and start working again, for the bread and butter. So maybe whenever there are time, then we'll go back, switch back again to do something on my own.
So how long has
Yeah.
it been, this particular project? This was in 2000, 10 years,
2012, it's in 2012.
2012. So
I got,
8 years ago. So
yeah.
I guess also that this is actually a good topic, right? Because when you guys were doing it then, cost of printing is actually high. Cost of actually getting it out there for people to actually read it is also less. It's actually more challenging because Facebook doesn't have that much of feature. We don't have tools like this that we can actually promote our thing. But
Right,
with the
correct.
current state of the technology, right, we have plenty of crowdfunding platforms that is actually available. If you think that this is an idea, you can actually pitch the idea and try to sell it to the relevant fans. And yeah, you can actually just get it started. Right? I've been seeing so many creator that's actually went into crowdfunding project, inclusive some big names like Sean Gordon Murphy, or even what's that guy name? The Duncan Jones. Yeah, Duncan Jones on his Muddy's graphic novels. So would you guys actually wanted to actually take the leap and do this?
Yeah. I mean, that is part of the plan, but again, to prepare for it, I think it would be ideally if we have a team of maybe 2 or 3 people to work on it now. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And then if we could spend a substantial amount of time, to come up with a proper project. That's always the case. I wanted to do a
There are a few ways of actually looking at this, because you're actually looking at as starting a project, but there's also the part that you're trying to actually fund the project, where you're actually just giving them a glimpse of what you intend to do and get people signing up very early. It's almost like, if you actually look at it from a business point of view, I'm just pitching the idea. I'm just drawing maybe 10 pages of PowerPoint slides with a proof of concept, like this is the character, this is the situation, what will be happening. And while I'm actually getting it funded, you guys can see if the market is really interested with your project, right? So that's one way of actually looking at that. And once you actually get the funding, then you can start building up your dream team. Right?
Well, I think I need to talk to you after this, huh? I'm the drawing guy,
Yeah, let's talk after that.
Lefty, you're running a studio. You are not just a drawing guy, man.
I'm just a drawing guy.
I think CT, there's some just to clarify also that I believe CT is actually having the impression that you actually own the Left Pocket Studio.
No.
Yeah.
No, but you're not just drawing, right? You're doing some coordination in the office also, right?
I was the head editor there when we were having comics project.
Yeah.
So I handle a lot of projects during the time, but at this moment I have taken a step back to focus more on my own drawings. So I'm heading for 65 now.
So now, are you still with them, or you are freelancing for them?
No. The office is the office is still here, and it is still doing very well. They have tons of projects coming in from Shanghai, and they are constantly looking for people. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the animation side, but not so much on our side. Yeah, the animation side, I think now more than ever, because because people are staying at home. So there are a lot of animation clips that that is so popular in China or the rest of the world. But for the example of Left Pocket Studio, which is not my studio, Left Pocket Studio in Shanghai.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They should pay you royalties for using your name.
So it's in Shanghai lah. Their focus point, their market, their target audience is the China audience. So it is.
Yes.
There's a lot of projects coming in. They are short-handed.
Oh, so you're not full time. You're not full time with them anymore, lah. Is it?
Not at this moment, because they wanted to. I can understand because the comic side is something like, it's sort of like an R&D department, and yet but the animation side, they already got orders coming in. So now at this moment, they just take in the orders and do first.
So from what you share, what's happening in China is like despite COVID.
Sorry, Chenju, what is it?
I was saying that, so despite COVID, China still going strong now for animation and all that lah.
Yeah, because these are things that people do when you stay at home. You watch. They don't have YouTube, but they have Tencent. They have Youku. They have so many platforms where they would need content, you see. And their viewers are like Indian.
I see.
It's like you hit 4 billion and
Actually,
they're saying, it's okay.
Yeah. Actually, since you mentioned Jimmy Jim, right? Actually, I'm reminded of another character created by Faezal. Faezal, remember the wire story you did? It's about this inspector with a mouth and worked as a health inspector for the Ministry of Health, and he was investigating outbreak case in a KLCC. Remember the story?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, from for the wires part, my story was about the virus, and I think when I sell my books, when I post it to people, I actually send the copies of extra wires comic to them, and a lot of them suddenly said to me that, how come you know that this is going to happen? I mean, your story is relatable. And it just got me thinking like, oh my God, I have no idea.
And the story 10 years ago, right?
But
it was, yes.
Was that actually inspired for some life incident during then?
I think so. I think something happened at that time. It wasn't related to a proper virus at that time. It was more of a computer virus.
Okay.
And I imagine that this computer virus somehow, or digital virus somehow evolved that affect mechanic people, or Android or AI or whatever.
Right.
And 10 years later, it somehow seemed fitting to what is happening now.
Yeah. You guys should do a crossover, Jimmy Germ and Inspector Mouse. Should make a comeback.
Yeah.
You should be careful of what you write in the future. You know, if you write about something, maybe it'll happen in 10 more years.
Yeah. Or they can, or those.
I do feel a bit like
you should get your comics.
We have to be more responsible in what we are creating next.
You know what they say, right? Art inspires life. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, a lot of people just say hi. I won't read most on it, but Alan, on screen, he said hi, and
Alan,
Zol,
Kanda,
Joel, Rohan, Amran has a question. Amran actually asked that full color interior painting, is it not pricey in Malaysia? We can actually find some manageable pricing, but we can take that offline if you're interested.
Actually, even for comics in Singapore, some of them
especially to have a quick answer,
printed in Malaysia actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, once you cross the border, it's actually you basically slash your price by 3 anyway.
Yeah, lor.
So yeah.
But actually, some
So-
American companies, they also print in Malaysia. So there are some
Really?
guys I know, they'll fly all the way from America, stop over Singapore because Changi connecting, then they will take a bus into Johor. I think the printing press is in Johor.
Wow.
Yeah, why
okay.
not? They already covered their flight ticket to come and holiday in Asia.
Yeah.
To save
And on top of that,
instead of
they can actually have cheaper printing costs. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I
because
think,
of
I
the
think printing in Asia, especially I think the famous one is Tianhua Press lah. That one, a lot of publishers in America, in Europe are aware and working with them. Yeah.
oh, that's interesting, huh? That's good. I mean, at least if that's the case, then they would have known what is a good quality printing.
Yeah. So this guy, I know he will literally spend almost 24/48 in the printing press, checking every page and all that, because they want it to be quality product. So that's why they fly in. And they know that the
But does
Malaysians
it
do a good job.
for big companies?
Sorry?
I mean, if you
These are
kind of
comics companies. These are comics companies. Yeah.
if going for that kind of a quality control from a printing company, they must have a big client, because that's how they could spend a lot of time on the checking the quality of the printings. Because normally for independent, I don't think they would spend a lot of time unless you are somebody.
But because
Basically,
nowadays,
I think the quality is there lah. So that's good lah. That's good.
But that's good to know though. They have very good printing services here in Malaysia.
they are ready for the international publication.
I think it's partly that there are less and less publication in physical form. We have less magazines, so all these printer just need some extra avenue to actually get some income in.
Now there's a lot of big questions going on, but with the local publications and how the new norm is going to affect physical printing, physical books.
Yeah.
And this is all a big question. Everyone is thinking about, especially the publisher.
Yep. So moving on. Do you want to Faezal? Do you want to talk about some of your projects that you've been doing? Evening Rumours.
Yeah, sure. Well, currently Evening Rumours is on the second issue.
Well, maybe you can talk about the concept of Evening Rumours, because I think that usually, especially the local indie magazine, right? They don't tell a story like you do. Maybe you can actually just explain a little bit of the concept of Evening Rumours for those that is actually not being enlightened yet. I have to be honest that once I actually pick it up, I finish it at one sitting. So it really captures me in terms of the interesting settings and how that two old-time journalists went into all these misadventures.
It also does seem very heavily
yeah, sure.
inspired by local Malaysian mythology. It's actually a very interesting read. To everyone on the call, I suggest you pick up a copy of Evening Rumours. It's very good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Faezal, as you're saying?
Okay. So basically, the Evening Rumours is actually fundamentally is a platform for me to tell a story that is kind of out of this world. But I want it to be somewhere that I'm quite familiar with, which is the Southeast Asia or Malaysia specifically. So at that time, it wasn't exactly called Malaysia. So it was Tanah Melayu, or the area of Selat Tebrau and everything. So basically the story at the end of the 18th century. And there are two mysterious journalists who go around Malaysia and the area around it, probably Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and they kind of stumble upon weird stories, supernatural stories, strange stories, and most of the time, these stories something that we kind of familiar with throughout our growing years, but from their point of view and their perspective, the story had a different origin entirely. So basically, the story goes around that every single time they stumble a story, it's going to take you on this really weird situation where you question whether is the real story, the real origin, or it could be totally fabricated. So that's the original idea of Evening Rumours.
Yeah.
And where it came to be is basically I'm trying to have an outlet where I can just draw weird stories. And I am, of course, hugely influenced by Mignola and how he came about his Hellboy characters at first.
Yeah.
And how he had really a huge fascination about myth, legend, supernatural stories and stuff, where the reason why he had Hellboy is because he wanted to tell those kind of stories in his own approach. So based from that, I kind of thinking about it, and I see like, why don't I try something similar, but with our own culture. And since when I did more research on it, and I suddenly stumbled upon throughout the years, we have like a lot of those kind of magazine here in Malaysia specifically.
Are those the tabloids in Tanah Melayu time?
Yeah.
Oh,
some
okay.
of them are tabloids, some of them are newspapers, and some of them are magazine that specifically like to use all these sensationalist titles and headlines.
Right. Which is something of well, no. Is it something like this? I'm actually sharing a screen right now.
Okay.
Oh, if you go to like the first page, Hancock.
Yeah, the first page, the corpses of Macabron Island.
Yeah.
You see it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because when I flipped over to the second story about the Khmer Empire, I kind of said, yeah, this looks exactly like Mignola. And when I started reading it, I was just like, I didn't know a lot about like Malaysian history before we found independence. So reading about this is like, oh, this is interesting. At the same time, I'm like, is this real? Like, is this like, you must have done a lot of research behind this?
Yeah, I did. I did some basic research, not in depth, but there are actually a few connections that we can relate to it. So based on that, I kind of loosely took the element of it and some content in it, and I kind of merge it into my own story. And I don't know whether you notice or not that there are 3 stories in each magazine.
Yes.
And and each of the style are kind of slightly different from each other.
Yeah.
So so I don't know whether you could tell whether it came from the same person, same artist, or it came from a different artist.
Yeah, I had to check and say, wait, is it still Faezal drawing the whole thing? Because it actually was very different.
Okay.
It's quite interesting.
This has color in it.
Okay, so I think throughout the years, I had like, a lot of influences, and of course, Mignola is one of it, and there are other artists also. And when I started this project, I really cannot afford anybody to draw it for me. And most of the artists are kind of either they are busy or I think they don't really. I really don't know how to tell them about the story first. The reason why I try to emulate different style for every single stories is because I'm trying to be a different artist for each of the stories. So I imagine that when I'm drawing the second story that is so like Mignola, I imagine that I am Mignola.
It's
since
actually
I
pretty
cannot afford it.
impressive to be Mignola.
Actually, I thought it was quite interesting. When I bought this, of course, what struck me is the use of black and white in shadows, and obviously the Magnolia influence there. But what I noticed, actually, there are also other artists in Malaysia that's also very influenced by him, by Mike Magnolia. I think Daryl To is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Again, that Mike Magnolia feel is very strong. The use of monsters, horror, and of course even black and white. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
So what other artists influenced your style aside from Magnolia? You said there was a few artists.
Okay, the main influence for me was actually Dave McKean.
Oh, okay.
Yep, originally, I think my first favorite artist was Simon Bisley.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Yeah, and Simon
Very
Simon Bisley grew into Bill Sienkiewicz.
Uh-huh.
So you're reading
from
2000 AD, is it, for Simon Bisley?
yeah, I do,
Slain.
and I do
On-
love the old 2000 AD.
Yeah, Slain.
Not to say that the new one is bad or anything. It's just that all my favorite artists came from the earlier on. I mean, well, the around the 80s and 90s. So from Bill, I discovered Dave McKean, and I kind of really into his work, starting from his digital manipulation artwork and his painted work, and now he's going back to drawing with lines, pen, brushes, and stuff. So Dave McKean is kind of my benchmark.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because even Dave McKean himself goes through so many different styles. Like, I'm not sure if you saw this recently where he posted a photo of his Sandman covers, and he actually
Oh, yeah.
physically built those covers out and made it like
yeah.
I thought it was really cool. But it's good to see you as an artist experiment with different styles.
It was
Have you read his Black Dog? This in fact, I just happened to have it here. That's I think came out about 2 years ago.
This was
yeah,
it's
the
life of a musician, isn't it?
Artist Paul Nash.
I think
Paul Nash, yes.
he's pretty much an all-rounder. He's a photographer. He's a director, film director. I think he did his own animation as well.
By the way, Faezal, if you don't mind, you can actually shift your paper slightly to the upper part. I think people can see what you're doing. Yeah. Despite that, it's
okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, please do continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's pretty much like my my favorite artist. Because I think Dave McKean is a all-rounder kind of person. He did everything, and I still have no idea how he managed to do everything. And also, is a established musician.
Yeah.
So at the same time, when I'm reading through books like a normal comic these days, I think my favorite artist is probably one of them is James Herron. He did the Rumbles and also some of the BPRD work.
Yeah, you can see the clear influence from Magnolia in him too, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and
dynamic action scenes. Yeah, that's quite him.
Yeah, his work is really dynamic.
Yeah.
I think the way he uses the speed lines and everything is totally different, but I love how he use it, unlike the the Japanese or the manga style.
Yes,
and
that raw
at the same time, yeah. And at the same time, because I also following a lot of illustrators, as in book illustrators, commercial illustrators. So definitely one of my favorite these days is Jeffrey Allen Love. So he's one of the artists that kind of in my radar right now. And also there is another artist, British based, called himself Johnson Cutwell.
Okay.
Yeah, he did a book with Mignola recently.
I'm literally googling all these names as fast as I can.
Yeah. Same here.
Jason Cutwell, Jason Warren Cutwell.
Yeah. Which is cool though, because like I think one thing I like about the taste that you have is that it gets away from the whole like Jim Lee mold that people have built their ideas on when it comes to comic books.
Yeah.
People always think like muscular David Finch style, but it's also this whole other side of comics where you have this more abstract style like Jim of Food or Ben Temple-Smith to go into horror, and it's actually quite interesting to know that it's quite varied though. But do you feel like you're still a superhero fan, or do you like exploring other types of books? What are your thoughts in terms of the industry itself?
I do enjoy reading superheroes. It's one of my leisure reading kind of a thing. Whenever I don't want to think so much about comics and stuff, I would still go to superhero comics. And I do want them to be around for a while. But also when I was working with Wires, the project Wires, with some of my colleagues from the overseas, it kind of opened up to a different type of comic as well. So when I get the chance to go to Europe and experience international comic, as in the independent comic scene itself, and it kind of opened up a whole new doors for me. And that's how I feel like as much as I love superheroes and I want them to be around, I don't think I could fit in there like forever. And these independent artists, they are doing like a lot of really, really cool stuff. And I kind of have both of my foot on both scene.
Yeah, I think
So
accept both sides of the awesome, right? I think in the end it's just comics. So anything that actually entertains, just enjoy it.
That's true, yeah. So I do enjoy any comic medium in whatever content they're telling.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
and I'm glad that we have a lot of new independent comic artists as well that gunning awards, international awards, and recently we have a few of Malaysian actually nominated for the Eisner.
the Eisner, yeah.
Yeah, that Erica.
Yeah, and I'm truly happy for that.
Yeah, you probably can actually put this as a web comic and get nominated next year.
I would love to give it a try. Yes.
Yeah, but there's still something odd. I mean, on the evening rumors, what I actually also find slightly very different from other indie comics is also that you try to actually hook people, but you make me want to actually read the next book because all of your stories are not being fully told. You told it halfway with a cliffhanger, and then you just move on to another one. So is that intentional?
Partly it was planned, and partly it was actually because I need to buy some more time to draw the next issue. So I kind of had to put everything on the cliffhanger, so I have time to breathe and continue later on. So, but basically, I've planned everything beforehand. I mean that I want the story to have at least few parts, so people can have a time to actually absorb it. I know that when I release the first issues, people were just wondering about it.
Yeah.
They have no idea how to put the book. Where is it in the superhero section, or is it under the independent, or is it under commercial or what. So I kind of trying to slowly get people interested in it, like bits by bits. And I hopefully I could tell them, like, just bear with me for a second, hang until say issue 3 or 4, then hopefully you will see where I'm going to.
Yeah, I
I'm glad
think
that's
the hope is definitely there. So so the pressure is actually on you. So when is issue 3 coming out?
okay. The issue 3 is coming out hopefully by end of this year.
Uh-huh.
And also there will be another one, which is a standalone, something like the Batu Belah book. And the story is probably going to be about the buluh betong kid, or anak buluh betong, or something like that. So yeah, I've been waiting for the story to be finalized. And then I'm going to figure out, like, how the illustration for that book is going to look like, because it's going to be totally different from Batu Belah. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm also scrolling through the Batu Belah, right? I think you are again exploring a new style. This has some form of a syncage in it, but I don't know. I can't get to. I mean, it's a new style that is slightly different from what you've been doing. Is it digital or traditional right now? This particular page.
This one is okay. This one is fully digital for the illustration itself, but I think the influence came from the traditional method. I've been playing it safe all these years, where I try to steer away from doing gritty looking and heavily textured kind of work. So when I finally get the chance to use it digitally, then I think, by all means, why not? So this is my attempt to emulate the traditional, all this 6-screen and also the printing method, and try to use it in a digital form. It's a pale attempt, but I think for me, it's a good start.
It's an interesting attempt because I mean, at least again, you have that impression, like just like what Duan is actually asking, right? Who are the artists that you asked to draw in Evening Rumours? It sounds like you managed to fool one guy to make him think that you have multiple artists working on your book.
Okay. For the Evening Rumours, most of the drawing was done by myself, except for the story of a Legend of Selat Tebrau. I actually commissioned 2 different artists to draw on the 2 of the other stories. So this is also intentional, because I wanted a different version of that story came from a different artist. But most of the other stories, it was pretty much done by myself. Yeah, and hopefully, and the colorist as well. I hired another colorist to help me with the colors, because I'm totally hopeless with colors.
Yeah, but
okay, I got a question. Yeah. So I mean, actually, I asked Inkok, whether I can join in, because I thought that I think all the panels strictly is by countries, right? But I thought, let's have a conversation across the causeway, and of course, Lefty will know lah. When Singaporeans and Malaysians come together, right? Most of the time they talk about politics.
Oh no, we're here. We're going there now.
Yeah. We are definitely going there, man. So what's going on? Are we going to see a snap election soon or not? That's why I read in the papers today, Lefty. Because in Singapore, we also maybe have election soon. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lefty, there's a question for you, Lefty. Lefty, are you still online?
Are you okay, Lefty?
True artist focusing on his work.
Yeah, he's too focusing on his work.
I think he's speaking on mute.
Probably he's trying to find like the proper answer, how to answer about the politics situation.
No, I find that actually pop culture comics are a good way in a way. I mean, if you want to comment, of course, you have someone like Zuna, right? But I
Yeah.
think even Lefty himself a few years ago he did those series of Star Wars illustrations, which also comment on Reformasi and all the people's movement, right? I thought those are pretty good series, right? Using stormtroopers, using Darth Vader as figures of oppression.
Darth Vader is back.
Back,
Darth Vader is back.
Darth Vader acquitted, is it? Darth Vader
I
acquitted.
thought that's Palpatine. I thought that's Palpatine.
But all this thing is like I just don't care anymore about the situation.
Sian already,
Yeah, very soon already.
But I think on that particular topic, right? When I was at Penang, Lefty actually showed me a community project at one of the constituents that one of the MP actually employed Lefty to actually do a local historical comic. That was actually pretty interesting from what I saw. Just want to actually find out what happened to that. Is there any way that we can see the light of that?
Oh yes, yes. We are wrapping it up already. I've done all the drawing and all the layout is done. We are finalizing just about 2 pages left. It's just that it's a matter of time before it will be printed because now and the stay-at-home thing has just been relaxed. So we are going back to look into it, talking to the areas YB again.
Okay,
So,
but we take a step back. Maybe you can actually introduce. I mean, you can talk a little bit more regarding on that project because I've seen it. I don't think many of the audience or even the interviewer actually seen what actually done. Yeah.
It is because I have been apart from like this kind of pop culture thing like Major Zombie and Jimi Germ, I'm also interested in documentary type of comics, which is to record down mostly the disappearing lifestyle of the people. So that's why I did some project for Penang for the World Heritage Incorporated, which is a safeguard of the our UNESCO status, World Heritage City status. So I did a series of drawing about air wells for them, and then after that, and then there are a couple of heritage related project came to me, and I am more than happy to do it because this is my direction as well. So and then this is the latest before the Pulau Tikus bus stop series, and then now this is the latest it's regarding about this district called Batu Lanjang. It's an area in Penang where it's a very old area, and we wanted to explore the olden days and talk to the people about some of the things like the kampong area, which has got a lot of traditional items, which is very quickly disappearing. And this one kampong area that I did research on is actually almost being brought up and being developed into this high-rise, expensive condominiums. But thank goodness for the slowing down economy, the project is been hold on to. So that place is still there. So we were like, those kampong houses, they are wells inside the house. So amazing. And they produce tofu. They have bean curd growing there, but sadly not anymore. But they used to have. So what I did was to interview a lot of the elderly people, and it's a very nice project because we have video documentation of the lifestyle, and I did drawings, and then my drawings I will go back and show them and see if I did it correctly, and with their approval, and I'll proceed to do the decent drawing out of it. There are two projects that actually it's still I've already completed, but it's still waiting to be printed. Another one is a Penang Shanghai project, which I managed I love the project. It's something that I managed to do because of while I was working in Shanghai, and they're like, oh, you're from Penang. So it's like, hey, we have this project and we wanted to have a twin city thing. So I say, yeah, I'm very happy to do that. That would be a graphic novel of 4 artists, 2 from Malaysia and 2 from China. 2 from Malaysia, one is me, and another one is your fellow Seremban guy, Faezal. So
I've never actually met him. Yeah, it's too famous.
So Lefty, I know you have been doing this, but last year you also went to Taiwan, right, for exhibition. Right, it's also of heritage.
Yeah, I did a Hainanese copy story for this magazine called Monsoon from Taiwan. So that is also something also close to my heart now, because it is also a lifestyle that I went through and I have some memory of. So and I noticed that the changes nowadays is so fast, so it could just been buried off very quickly. So and then especially you're talking about historical items or references in Malaysia. It's so lacking. When I was doing so many research on the Penang on all these Penang heritage jobs, I always ended up in Singapore's library. Online. Because we couldn't find any actual photo here, but then there are archival photos in Singapore. So we have to make do with drawings. I think drawing is wonderful because there are certain things that you can't shoot anymore. So you can't take pictures anymore. So we would do a drawing of it.
That's true.
So I'm going to continue with that. Hopefully there are more projects coming in. But unfortunately, at this moment, it's very slow because everything is uncertain now again.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, but that's my direction also.
Yeah, that's good. I think we are actually almost running out of time, so we'll use the remaining 2 minutes. I just told Alan Kwa that we'll be late for 1 minute. I'll just try to actually wrap up. There's one more question. So when are we getting a next major zombie, and is Gilamon going to actually make a comeback? So yeah, Lefty, that's a question for you, I guess.
Eng Hua is with you in Penang, so half of it, Gilamon is there.
One Gilamon. Yeah, so Penang have got half the Gilamon here. We got Eng Hua and me here.
And you just need Michael Chua to actually move up and Slim. Yeah,
and I need players. Lim to have the children 18 years old before he can start doing anything. Now the children is, I think, going to pushing to 5 already.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm actually doing something on planning on a major zombie story, and hopefully, well, it has got some disaster going on. Hopefully, it won't come true. I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm very tempted to do a Jimi Germ story first instead, actually. But we shouldn't keep Alan Kwa waiting because his time is very precious.
Yeah.
Okay. For the last maybe few seconds, maybe just take up your art and show it to the audience as what you guys actually managed to. So my camera currently is actually focusing on Faezal. So can you actually just turn it and show it? Yeah, make it closer. So there's a major zombie facing some
Wow.
Villain and Ghost. Yeah. And Lefty, yours will be?
Okay.
Yeah, can you actually hold it slightly higher?
Mm.
Okay, it looks really good. So
Okay.
well, looking forward for you guys to actually make a better scan and just finish up the whole thing, and yeah, well,
Sure.
post it in on your social media. Then I can actually share it in the communities to I mean so that you guys can actually have they can actually have
Yeah,
a look at it.
definitely.
Okay,
Definitely
yeah,
going to
thanks
clean it.
guys. It's been a good chat. Moving along. Just join the other session with Alan Kwa. I
All
think
right.
he's already
Thank you all.
online.
Thanks. Take
And
care.
I
I'm
want to thank
seeing, yeah. Thanks,
you
bye.
so much, Hank.
Great
Yeah, no
having you.
problem.
Everybody.
We definitely will talk. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thanks
Okay,
everybody that
bye-bye.
Okay,
dropped
thanks,
by.
bye. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Stay safe.
Bye. Yeah, stay safe.